Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Food Tech Talks where we'll be diving into the fascinating world of food processing. Our topic for today is dryers in food industry. Drying is one of the most essential operations in food preservation and processing. And to guide us through this, we have with us two industry experts, Sri Lakshmi and Shreyashi. So let's start with the basics. Sri Lakshmi, could you explain what food dryer is and why it's important?
So, food dyeing is a process of removing moisture from food products, primarily to extend shelf life and reduce microbial growth. So, it also helps in reducing weight and volume, making storage and transportation easier. In India, think of milk powder, dried fruits, or even spices. Drying is everywhere.
Stacy, can you give us an overview of the main types of dryers used in industries?
Absolutely. The major ones include tray dryers, spray dryers, drum dryers, freeze dryers, fluidized bed dryers, tunnel dryers, and rotary dryers. Each one operates on unique principles of heat, mass transfer, and is suited for different food products. For example, tray dryers are common in small scale industries, while spray dryers are used in large scale dairy plants.
Wow, that's fascinating. Sri Lakshmi, let's take spray dryer as an example. Could you elaborate on their working principles?
Sure, a spray dryer atomizes liquid food into fine droplets, which are then exposed to hot air. So the moisture evaporates rapidly, leaving a fine powder. It is widely used for instant coffee, milk powder, or even fruit juice powders. So in India, companies like Amul, Nestle, and Mapro relies heavily on the spray drying process.
Shreya, what would you say are the advantages and disadvantages of spray drying?
The best advantage is speed and the ability to handle large volumes. It creates instant powders that dissolves quickly, that is the solubility of the product or moreover the reconstitution of the product is very high in spray dryers. However, high operating costs and some nutrition laws or due to high temperatures are the major limitations. Yet it remains the backbone of dairy industry.
That's insightful. Moving on, Sri Lakshmi, what about drum dryer?
So drum dryers works by spreading a liquid or a slurry on a surface of a heated drum. As the drum rotates, the moisture evaporates. A thin, dry film is then scraped off. So they have a very low cost and is robust. So in India, they have been traditionally used for making baby food products, potato flakes, and even starch products.
Stacy, could you add on applications of drum dryers?
For sure. Drum drying is suitable for various viscous material that can be spray dried easily. As the viscosity is high, you can spray dry the product in small nozzles which will eventually result in higher cost. But when with high viscous liquids, you can easily use drum drying application and use a much more cost effective dried product. For example, mashed potatoes for making flakes or malted foods used in products like Horlicks and Bonvita. It produces a cooked flavor which can be desirable in some applications.
Excellent. Now let's discuss freeze dryers, which people often hear about but may not fully understand. Sri Lakshmi?
So freeze drying or lyophilization is very unique process. The product is first frozen and it's done under vacuum condition. So ice sublimizes and it directly from vapor without melting, it becomes vapor. So this preserves the structure, the flavor, and the nutrients more perfectly. So in India, freeze dried spices are used. Instant coffees, ready to eat meals are made for different sectors.
That sounds high tech. Shreyashri, what are the limitations here?
Okay, the major drawback is cost. Freeze drying is extremely expensive and time consuming. That's why it's served for a high value or sensitive product. But as demand for premium health products grows, its use in India is also expanding, like freeze dried fruits and probiotics.
Let's not forget fluidized bed dryers. Sri Lakshmi, could you explain how they work?
So in fluidized bed drying, hot air passes through a bed of particles at a velocity high enough to suspend them, creating a fluidized state. So this ensures a uniform drying and a good heat transfer. It is especially useful for granular products like spices, cereals, and snack pellets.
Shreyashri, what are some practical examples from the Indian market?
Oh, many Indian market today uses this fluidized bed drying technology, like to make puffed rice, spice powder, and instant mixes. Even pharma grade powders use this method for uniformity and stability.
Tunnel and rotary dryers are also important, especially for large scale drying. Sri Lakshmi, your thoughts?
So tunnel dryers are especially chambers where food moves on trays through hot air streams. So great for large-scale fruits and vegetables, while rotary dryers are drum-like structures that rotates and tumbles products while hot air passes through. So they are common in starch and grain processing.
Shreyashri, could you highlight some examples?
For sure. In India, tunnel dryers are used for dehydrated onions, chilies, and even mango slices for export. Rotary dryers are seen in starch industries for cassava and maize processing.
Beyond the equipment, how do dryers affect food quality?
So if we see like that, each method has its own trade-off. Spray dryers may reduce the heat-sensitive vitamins but produce convenient powders. Freeze dryers, on the other hand, preserves the quality but is very costly. Drum drying changes the texture but is very efficient. So food engineers balance product requirements with economics. So if they have more money, they can spend it on higher technologies.
Exactly. For example, in India, when we take India, spray dried dairy powders are affordable and accessible, while freeze dried fruits marketed as premium health products are bit on the expensive side for the upper middle class population. Consumer demand often drives the choice of drying technology used.
Let's talk about innovations. Are companies in India investing in new drying technologies?
Of course, yes. With the growth of nutraceuticals and plant protein-based products, hybrid dryers and energy-efficient models are gaining traction. So there is also a rising interest in solar-resisted dryers for sustainability.
Correct. You'll see products like spray dried jackfruit powder, freeze dried herbs, dehydrated, ready mixes entering the Indian market. This is how drying technology supports innovation in both traditional and modern foods.
Before we close, could you give some advice to young professionals in this field?
So my advice is that focus on fundamentals like heat transfer, mass transfer, thermodynamics. Strong engineering knowledge makes innovation possible.
And I'd like to add something here. I'll always connect theory with practice. Look at real life products in the shelf, things that are entering new to the shelf, or products that already exist in the shelf. Read the label. Ask yourself which drying method was used here. That's how you'll learn. That curiosity is the key to learning.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi and Shreyashri, for your insights. And thanks for your listeners for joining us on this deep dive into dryers in the food industry. Until next time, keep learning and exploring the science behind the food we eat. Thank you.
Thank you.